Live. And we're live because
Well,
I get a sign that says we're live and there's a thing
so
that
yeah.
says we're live. So, hey, welcome everybody to another Drupal and Coffee in the Morning. It is um, May 28th. Yeah, May. Just a couple of days before DrupalCon Austin. And with us today is Alexi.
Good morning.
Did I get that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. And so Alexi's a good soul here. We actually we're trying to get a whole panel of people to talk today, and Alexi was the only one that showed up.
Maybe some more will join in later.
Let's hope. Um, for those of you who are watching right now, you can join the Hangout link from the Google Plus community, the Drupal community on Google Plus. I've posted the link there. Feel free to join in at any time. So heavy on our mind today is the upcoming DrupalCon and everything that's going to happen there. I, if you go to the website for DrupalCon Austin, the folks who worked on it did a very good job of making a nice responsive site. There's a lot of information out there. Let's see if I could share that for historical purposes. There we go. All right, here we are. Just a few days ahead of the con and lots of useful information. Probably the most useful information on the site is the schedule. Um, Lots of interesting things on the schedule. And you know, for when we're for the days where we're having actual events, and if you're logged in, you can actually add these things to your own schedule so that you have a place to go to have a list of, you know, you can earmark the different sessions you want to go to and try to answer that question, well, do I have time for everything? And the answer is no. You don't
Mhm.
you don't have time to watch everything or be at everything. In addition to the schedules, I think just last night, or maybe it was this morning, they add a birds of a feather schedule, and there isn't a lot of people who have signed up for birds of a feather sessions. But I just wanted to let everybody know that we've got a Google Plus birds of a feather session scheduled. Um, and who knows if this is the actual day and time that we're going to do. I've tried to make a post to ask the community if this day and time is going to work for most people. Probably not going to work for everybody because there's a lot going on. But yes, we will be having a birds of a feather session for the Google Plus community there at DrupalCon Austin, and I hope you guys show up. It'll be a good time. Alexi, are you going to make the trip? I realize you're overseas.
Yeah, well, I just recently went to a SEGIT conference, so probably not. But
Segit.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that I've heard of the outcome of that conference, and a lot of great stuff was produced from that.
well, there'll be like code sprints in Austin as well.
Yes. Every time Drupal folks get together, one of the biggest things that come out from the conference is a very sharp focus on getting people to uh, work with the Drupal code base, get comfortable with making patches and getting involved in the process. Um, Kathy Thace, Andrea Soper, um, number of other people that I should remember, but I can't remember off the top of my head, are very involved in the process of making sure that people are comfortable with the workflow because it's not the easiest workflow. It's sometimes very frustrating, um, but it's very valuable. It's very valuable to the Drupal project and also to the individual contributor.
I'm pretty sure that if there's enough coffee and cookies, then there's gonna be some good outcome there.
Yeah, yeah, with enough coffee. I thought I saw a tweet from somebody yesterday, and of course it's in all caps, so you're supposed to imagine the person yelling, but they said, how much donuts and coffee do I have to feed you nerds before you shut up about 80-hour work weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, and
So here we go.
yeah,
We're going to travel all the way to Austin, Texas, a wonderful city, and our intent is to hole up in a room and hack for as long as we physically can. It sounds like a great vacation to me. That sounds like my cup of tea, but
this is awesome. This is
it,
awesome.
on paper, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a good time for most. Um, but there actually is a whole day dedicated to code sprints. Um,
Right.
and code sprints are available for everyone throughout the entire conference, ahead of the conference, after the conference. If you come early and stay late, there's actually more code sprints that people are going to focus in on. But there's like one main day that's dedicated to ramping people up, making sure their tools are all set, that they're ready to get in the process. I bet you had a similar experience in Sega, did you not?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we had a few days just code sprints, and then we had session parts, and that's where I went to sessions rather than code sprints because I wanted to hear more about Drupal 8 and changes in it from the first hand. So
Yeah, yeah, and of course, you know that you wouldn't be a conference without sessions. So there's lots of sessions for this one. Now, the interesting thing about DrupalCon Austin is that, you know, we've got the traditional tracks for sessions. We've got the developer track, the front end track, but we also have a community track,
mhm.
and I believe there's a business track, and also very interesting, there's a core developers or Drupal core track where, you know, because this is like one of the biggest events in Drupal in the United States. It is the biggest. There's also another one that happens overseas in Amsterdam this year. Um, but we,
so
we we get everyone together in a room and we talk about, you know, core conversations.
so you kind of can say that pretty much everybody will be able to find their niche there, right?
I'm
Business
sorry, I
people.
just saw Donnie. Donnie, why don't you join if you have time? I see you've wrote a question. Could you repeat what you said, Alexia? Let me give you
Yeah,
my
so
attention.
yeah, I just commented that probably it seems like everybody will be able to find a niche there of people from business will have their niche as well there.
That's right. That's right. And if you want to create your own niche, there's the birds of a feather session, and it
Oh,
looks like the schedule is still pretty open right at this time. Probably not by the end of the day, or the end of the week. Probably going to get filled up pretty fast. Usually does. But at this moment, you do have an opportunity to create a birds of a feather session. Um, yeah. So Donnie asked a question. We have the Q&A feature running on this Hangout on Air. So he asked a question. Do you have a draft agenda for the Birds of a Feather session at DrupalCon? And yeah, actually I do. I was just kind of thinking of a few things off the top of my head. I mean, we have the opportunity to get everyone together. So let's talk about the Google Plus community and what kind of changes you would like to see. What could we do to make the experience better? What could we do to, you know, welcome new members? The Drupal community on Google Plus seems to be growing at a pretty steady pace. We're at 7,000 members right now.
congrats, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that this is just something we started maybe a year and a half. You know, the community feature launched in November, not last November, the November before that one. So it's been about a year and a half or so. Um, and we went from 0 to 7,000 members in that time. Um, I don't know. Should we throw a party when we get to 10,000? Internet party? But also, I thought it would be a great opportunity if someone has a nice camera that can record video. Wouldn't it be great if we could record some kind of welcome message? And then
Mm.
we could upload that and as a post on Google Plus, and then we would be able to pin that at the top of the Google Plus community so that when new members are joining, they have a nice video welcome message. Just a thought.
Probably people who come to a Drupal Plus community, they already know what they want, so I don't know.
Yeah. 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 We'll see. I don't know. Lots of cool things can happen. So this is my third DrupalCon. I'm always conscious of all the times that I wanted to go to DrupalCon and I couldn't because I was like the only developer at a company or the only developer that knew what I knew, and we can't shut down the company for a whole week while Chris goes to a party in some beautiful location.
Yeah.
So I'm very conscious of all the people who are in that position today that really, really want to go to DrupalCon but can't because of obligations. So I generally wanted to ask the question, like, what do people really want to see? If you could go to DrupalCon, what's your top three things that you want to see or learn or do at a DrupalCon?
Are you asking me or are you asking
Yes, the,
nobody else
I,
here, right?
I'm asking the panel, which is Alexi, and maybe anyone who's watching who is using the Q&A feature.
Yeah,
Donnie.
well, for me, one of the first things was to meet the people, to meet the community in live, because I know some people from correspondence, I know some people um, uh, from upstream and from some quirky names.
Yeah,
Hello, hello.
pseudo-anonymous names.
Yeah.
Donnie, is that you?
Hey,
Hey, Donnie.
how are you both?
Doing well. Well, I have to get rid of this cough before I go, but doing real well. Happy you could join us because we were just starting to ask the panel questions.
Thanks.
Um, but Alexi, that I totally agree. That was my whole reason for going to like the camps. The very first thing I went to was Drupal Camp Twin Cities, and that year, WebChick was there, Angie Byron. That was my whole reason for going. I wanted to have a chance to meet her and shake her hand and say thank you. Because, at the time I was working for myself and was doing pretty well. And all my success was because there were thousands of other developers
Yeah.
working on this framework that made it easy for me to roll out websites for clients.
Yeah.
Like how many other professional circumstances do you get that opportunity? You get to reuse somebody else's code that they've spent years making. I guess that's kind of the definition of a framework, but I don't know. I felt immensely guilty that I was able to do so well with a bit of code that somebody poured their blood, sweat, and tears into.
Mhm.
So Donnie, the question was, if you could go to DrupalCon, and I'm guessing you can. Are you coming this year, Donnie? Donnie, you're muted right now.
Okay, sorry. I can hear the audio running behind. Do you hear that?
I think what you're hearing is that
Oh,
you
the
have the
recorded. Sorry. Just a moment. Let me go to the other browser window and disconnect from the audio. Listen in.
you probably have a delay. But while we wait for Donnie, Alexei, what's your second thing?
Yeah, and besides meeting people, of course, some other things were where I could uh, actually have some input with other people and learn from them, from personal experience, and ask questions. So that was the second thing where I could learn from the first hand, because where I am, I don't have a lot of great Drupal devs around to personal fellowship with and learn from in the first hand. And third, probably I enjoyed getting on track with procedures, how I can um, contribute to that process myself. So that really made me realize that I can step in and help at certain points. So probably those three things that I would expect.
And that's awesome. Yeah.
Um,
One of the
I
cool. Go ahead, Donnie.
I was going to jump in. I don't know if I will, if my ideas are in order like Alexei, but I have attended a few Drupal camps around here. This is going to be my first DrupalCon. So I'm a little anxious because I'm not sure I know what goes on. But definitely to network and get new ideas on what's really needed. The times I have attended Drupal camps, I have been able to talk to other people instead of just putting my head down and working on the work that I have to do. So it will be good to talk to others and understand what's important to them and understand the trends, not just to follow them, but understand what's needed out there. And learn a lot. I may have overbooked my schedule, but I'm trying to attend all the sessions about Drupal 8. To be honest, I've lagged behind. I've been promising myself that I will jump in and learn more about Drupal 8 and help contribute in one way or another. But so I will try and get up to speed and join in, because I think I remember a post once about givers and takers. I think I've been a taker for quite a while. I've been using Drupal for 7 years and made lots of money from Drupal, but I don't think I've given back as much as I should, or the fair amount. I don't think I've given back the fair amount of what I made back to Drupal in form of money and time.
Right. And just general value of life, because knowing something like Drupal really well um, empowers you to make a positive change for somebody else, and and that's powerful. Being able to, one of the things that I love doing is doing the overnight website challenge, and we use our skills to make a website for local nonprofits, and that allows them to further their mission, and just generally being empowered with all of that capability is not something you can generally buy, um, and so being able to give other people that power is immensely valuable. We're not all going to live forever. When we go, what's going to remain?
Yeah.
Just being philosophical for a bit.
That's I like not to call it a spin. I like the perspective you've taken about empowering others to do greater things, and especially, I mean, there are lots of, especially nonprofits that do good things, and that's one way to help them. I have done work for nonprofits and many other organizations. Normally, especially when it has to do with Drupal, very many people are lost. So, once you've gone over the learning curve, you become almost like a miracle maker when you can step in and organize things. So I see what you mean by basically transforming that knowledge into something, into another currency for others to use. And do bigger things.
In these shows, I often put my company logo, but I rarely talk about my company. I work for the Nerdery, and the one thing that I admire about the company is that we actually have in our core values the statement that, with everything that we do, we focus on winning by empowering people. It's not enough to be the super nerd that knows all the things, hoards all the information in your head. And we value people. We give promotions to people. We give benefits to people who can demonstrate the ability to bring other people up, and allow them to grow in their own way in the knowledge that they gain from others. So I promise I'm not going to make this thing a huge advertisement for my company, but I work here for a reason.
That's good. The I'm not sure. Well, I'd like to kind of take us back to the agenda. Is it the agenda or the draft agenda for the Birds of a Feather? You had started explaining when I started fixing my audio, so I may have been lost. Yeah.
So in general, we've never done Birds of a Feather for the Google Plus community. This would be our first opportunity to gather and meet everybody in person, so it would be nice to start some conversations about what's this community for? What should we be doing that we're not doing? How can we make this experience better for new people? And so those are kind of like the things that I would like to know about and talk about. Also, it would be kind of nice to make some kind of welcome message. I've kind of always thought about creating some grand welcome message, include everybody, and just basically say, hey, thanks for joining. Or if you're on the fence and you're thinking about joining up, why don't you just click that button, because it's going to be a good experience. That kind of thing. Not a very tight agenda or anything that's really top down. I don't like being, there was a post on the Google Plus community and somebody was saying, hey, you're the king now. I don't like being a king. I watch too much Game of Thrones. I know what happens to kings.
That's funny.
There's never really been a community that's been mine.
Yeah.
I don't think of it that way. This is our community on Google Plus. It's not even the larger Drupal community that everyone should be taking part in on IRC and on Drupal.org and groups.drupal.org. It's just a place where we gather because we're already on Google Plus, and we're going to talk about things.
I have a question. I'm not on any of the other social networks, so I don't know if there's a community on Facebook. I'm just wondering if, because long ago what used to be the big thing is podcasts, and there were a few that I listened to, and most of them were video podcasts because they were explaining things.
Sure.
And actually that's how I found Image Cache the very first time. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but so I'm just wondering what happened to the kind of, I don't know if podcasting is still big. I don't know what the other communities, what communities there are on the other networks, what they will be doing on site, and kind of not to have a very strong agenda, but this might be the opportunity on site to kind of explain to everyone else, those people who are not on, what we do on Google+. It's normally said that there's no one on Google+, or they're only techies.
Right.
But actually, I kind of like that. It's a good thing. Only, it keeps, most of the communication normally has a message and a purpose. It's not just, people posting things. So I'm wondering if we can use this to grow the community both in numbers and then also in depth. Like, will be the first time for me to meet many of the Drupal people I've communicated with in person. So as
Right.
well as yourself and the other people on Google Plus. So I think we can grow both in depth. So it's not just icons on Google Plus, and then in numbers, and maybe take over the from the other networks.
Well, taking over is never going to be a thing. I mean, places like Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, they're all kind of walled gardens, are they not?
Yeah.
In order to first join the Google Plus community or Drupal community on Google Plus, you first have to join in Google Plus, and there's just going to be a large number of people that will never going to do that. And I used to have a Facebook account. I think I still do, but I'm largely not on Facebook anymore.
Yeah.
Facebook is not a happy place for me. And Twitter is largely not a happy place either. Google Plus has been a happy place where I can follow my interests, I can talk to people who share my interests, and that's just always going to be a better experience than places where people are posting things just to make them seem better than you or actively telling you that they are better than you. Maybe okay, rant close. But I love the idea of meeting people, growing in depth and in numbers. But I just really enjoy the time that we've had on Google Plus. And yes, I do get a little frustrated when people tell me it's going to die tomorrow.
Well, if they open source it, maybe some of us can sustain it.
Yeah, like the open sourced Wave. Yeah, remember when
Yes.
Wave was a thing? I loved Wave. Wave was great.
I don't think Google Plus will die. It's so intertwined with everything. They will basically be killing a good portion of Google itself by doing that.
We whenever we talk about Google Plus, we never really get to talk about the numbers. How well it's doing. A lot of people don't accept any definition of success other than is it more popular than Facebook?
Yeah.
But that's not the intent of the system. Taking over Facebook's market share was never the intent.
Yeah.
It's to be a stopgap measure at least.
Yeah.
If you're going to think of a kind of battle between Facebook and Google Plus, guess where I would have to be if Google Plus wasn't a thing? I guess I would have to do social things on Facebook, but I'm not. I'm on Google Plus instead. Google Plus is really just an attempt to be more social, for better or worse. Well, we're almost done with all of our time, because we usually just talk for a half hour.
Yeah.
And Alexi, Johnny, thank you for showing up. I wish we had more time to talk about things, because you guys seem like good gents.
Well, you don't have the Friday session anymore, do you?
The Friday all-day coworker? Yeah, I kind of ran out of time for that. I'm a lot more busy these days.
Yeah.
Kind of got a promotion here and I've got more responsibilities.
Oh,
Got a lot of
congratulations.
projects going on at the same time, and can't really have another channel of communication going on while I'm trying to get other developers going and trying to lead projects. I would love to do it more, but sorry.
It's for me, I haven't attended in a long while because I stopped freelancing. I'm now employed. As you can see, this looks like an office. Well, I had an office before.
There's a
but
clock there.
Yeah, there's a clock there, but and it says electric at the back. I work for a university now, so I have, I was the new guy. I didn't want to start broadcasting.
All right.
He's showing me a watch. So I let
Who's this new guy? Why is he on the internet all day instead of working?
Yeah, but since it's a quick half hour, I will, try to make it a habit, run into a conference room like this and get it done. And maybe bring in a few people. Just the last 10 seconds, I work for Harvard, and we do have a distro of Drupal Open Scholar.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I'm not actively working on it right now. I'm working on all the other, things that don't fit in the box, like custom installs. But maybe at one point I will pull in a few people and they can talk about Open Scholar and kind of, it's Drupal so that we can have more people.
Yeah.
So I'll let Alexi say something. I've kind of monopolized the.
It's okay. I enjoy our conversation. Just thanks for organizing this talk, and thanks for having us around here.
Thank you both. Hope you guys have a good rest of the day.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.